What is up, guys? It's your boy and the Matrix, and I am back with some pretty interesting news. I actually missed the boat on this one. I have not heard about this, but I mean, of course, it's no surprise. I am here at Yahoo News. It says Japan leads U.S. demand for foreign language programming, and it's not just anime. Of course, it's not just anime. And I think it's actually ever since the pandemic when, a lot of people started discovering anime, through Netflix and other avenues. And naturally, once you go down the weeb rabbit hole, you come out, you find out about Japanese culture and then maid cafes, and then you start buying merchandise, right? And then, you find out more about the Japanese culture, Japanese history, and Japanese movies. And the next thing you know, you want to get on a plane to go to Japan, except that we can't right now because of, the, let's just say that the Pokemon virus is still kind of holding people back from traveling. But anyways, guys, before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and like this video. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. I talk about anime, manga, video games, geek culture, and Japanese culture. If you like any of those things, remember to subscribe, dudes. Now, let's get it. So, Japan leads U.S. demand foreign language programs. Basically, what it's saying is that in America, there's a huge demand for Japanese TV shows. So, anime, movies, Japanese TV shows, all that stuff, right? So, let's go ahead and read. It says Japan is leading the demand for foreign language content in the United States. And while anime makes up most of the demand, surprise, interest also appears to be crossing over to live-action Japanese content. According to Parrot Analytics data, which takes into account consumer research data, streaming downloads and social media, among other consumers' engagement. It says demand for non-English content has been on the rise in the United States for years as an audience embraces foreign content and platforms make international series more readily available. Over the past 3 years, in the pandemic, of course, the share of the demand of non-English series in the U.S. has increased by 50%, from a 8% share March 2019 to 12% in February 2022. Wow, I mean, it's amazing. And it's not just Japanese stuff, it's also, Korean stuff. We'll get to that in a moment. It says, one of the major drivers of this growth in demand for non-English content in the U.S. has been the booming interest in Japanese anime. But wait, hold on, let me stop right there, because it's not just the booming anime. Gee, are we doing something wrong here in the West that people are like escaping, American entertainment, movies and TV shows and cartoons and even video games and going into, greener pastures, greener places where entertainment just wants to entertain you and stop preaching to you? I wonder, does that have anything to do with it?
Well, duh.
Maybe people are sick and tired of being preached to and, getting into politics in entertainment.
Goddamn right.
But anyways, enough of that. We're not here to talk about that. It says, through most of 2019, Japanese and Spanish series accounted for roughly the same share of demand in the U.S., about 25% each. From the end of 2019, however, demand for Japanese content began to grow rapidly while the share of demand for Spanish content continued to fall. Actually, yeah. You also got to remember there's a huge population of Spanish people in America. It says Japanese content hit a peak in the U.S. this past December when it made up 41% of all demand for non-English content. Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of live-action shows. I mean, you take a look at a lot of those shows on Netflix. There's a lot of live-action stuff there. There's, Alice in... What was it? Alice in Wonderland? The Promised Neverland? Shit, I forgot the name. But it's a live-action based on a manga. I'll post a picture of it here, damn it. And then finally it says, while demand for Japanese content in the U.S. is primarily driven by anime, surprise, Japanese live-action content has built an audience in the U.S. as well. If we only consider live-action content, the share of demand for Japanese shows has more than doubled over the past 3 years. Most of this growth occurred in 2021. Gee, I wonder why. Says after the jump in demand for anime, which suggests that fans of Japanese animation have gone on to discover other genres of Japanese content. Yeah, so once you go, like I said, once you go down the anime rabbit hole, you find manga, then you find, you know, idols, then you find Japanese music, Japanese rock, Japanese metal. You know, I don't whether if it's visual kei, I don't know if that's still in fashion, but whether if it's visual kei, Japanese rock, Japanese pop, you know, the whole maid cafe thing, cosplay, and happy hardcore music, a lot of things, man, a lot of things, you know, hentai. Once you go down the rabbit hole, next thing you know, you become a weeb and you want to get on a plane to fly to Japan. Anyways, but it's not just anime, by the way. It's also Korean stuff. So we're going to look at this chart here. It says total demand for non-English series. So back in March 2019, the Japanese stuff is, we see here the stuff in red was actually not in demand. But as we go to 2021, it has doubled, if not tripled in demand, right? And also the Korean stuff, you know, the Spanish and Korean stuff. Korean entertainment is growing in popularity, right? And here it says, as I was saying, we've previously shown how Korean content has had a breakout year, in large part due to a number of Netflix originals like Squid Game, which have helped bring Korean content to audience around the world. Demand for Hindi content in the U.S. has also grown, as Amazon Prime Video has made a concerted effort to expand into the Indian market with originals like Mirzapur, never heard of it, The Family Man. These shows are also finding audiences in Prime Video subscriptions. Yeah, so about the Korean stuff, you know, like the manhwa, which is Korean manga, you know, Korean comic books, Korean music, K-pop, Korean movies and TV show like Squid Game. A lot of Korean stuff is becoming really, really popular. And yeah, guys, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Asian entertainment. I think in the future, Asian entertainment is going to become so popular that it's just going to dominate. It's going to absolutely dominate. And eventually, if American entertainment keeps going the way it's going, then, you know, it's just going to... People are going to forget about it. And the same thing, what happened with anime and manga. People are just going to migrate over to anime and manga and leave behind a lot of the, you know, American garbage stuff that people don't want to see.
Like I give a shit.
Alright guys, but that is all for this video. What do you think about, you know, Japan, the growth of Japanese content? Not just anime and manga, but just live action shows, Japanese culture becoming more popular, and people just eating this up in entertainment, and the growing demand in America. So what do you think? Comment below. Tell me what you think. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, guys. Hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is your boy, Andy Matrix, and Godspeed.